Hi, everyone. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I'm JB. We got Tyler Clippard, All-Star, Washington Nationals, ready to take his cuts in the cage. It's always good when the pitchers step in to take their cuts. I find it to be a great frame. Tyler, you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we want to thank you. We know you got a lot going on. We appreciate your time from Citi Field. Fans, you know how this works. I'm going to do my best to get out of the way. Get some FaceTime with your favorite players like Tyler Clippard and get your webcam fired up. Join us here in the cage and ask your questions. Meanwhile, I'm going to go to social media while those webcams get warmed up. Let's go first and foremost to some changes there for the Nationals. This is from @MrNationalsVL. Hey, Clip, how'd you enjoy spring training with the new skipper, Matt Williams?
It was fun. I think, spring training as a whole is not something from a player standpoint that we get too excited about. We know it's a necessary evil to get ready for the season. But Matty came in. We were very structured and regimented in our days. That made it a lot easier for us as players to know what to expect day in and day out during the spring training process. And it was a lot of fun. I think we meshed well together from the core group that we've had here in DC for the last 4 or 5 years, and then Matty coming in. I think it all blended very well, and we started off on a positive note here in New York because of it.
This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Tyler Clippard taking his cuts, answering about new skipper Matt Williams as fans get ready to join the cage, get some FaceTime with their favorite players. And we got one fired up and ready to go. What's your name? Where you from? What's your question for Tyler?
Hey, Tyler Clippard. I'm John. I'm from Georgia, and I was wondering, what made you, how do you throw such a great changeup? You're one of the best in the league at switching speeds. I was wondering about that.
Well, my changeup is a pitch that I was fortunate enough to start throwing at an early age. I had a pitching coach that showed me how to grip it and throw it and everything, and I worked on that religiously since I was probably 14 years old. And getting into professional baseball at 18 out of high school, as a starter, I relied on that pitch a lot through the minor leagues and as a starter, and got a lot of reps with it, and it just developed into the pitch that it is today. So I was just fortunate to really have some good coaches, at a young age, and started throwing it early, and became a pitch that I had a really good feel for throughout my whole entire career.
Tyler Clippard giving his insights on the changeup and how that's developed. Twitter had a lot of questions about the changeup. I'm glad the fan got to ask it in person. It's been a successful pitching run for you. All-Star Game 2011. Jenny Wing Harper, Jen Wing 1, wants to know, Tyler Clippard, what was the bigger honor, being the winning pitcher of the 2011 All-Star Game or winning the bobblehead fan vote?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a toss-up. I got to be honest. Having your own bobblehead in the big leagues is something that it's very cool. I mean, you kind of have this little figurine of yourself. You'll probably, I'm going to have it for the rest of my life, and that's very cool. But the 2011 All-Star honor was obviously, the top as far as my list of achievements as in my career. But I think they kind of go hand in hand. I don't think I'd have a bobblehead if I didn't have the All-Star nod. So I think it goes hand in hand.
Well, that's well played right there. That's a good answer. I know as a fan, I'm glad to hear it, because I think the bobblehead would be right there with All-Star winning pitcher on 3 pitches, no less.
Yeah.
So not a bad deal at all. Tyler Clippard.
Exactly.
In the chatting cage is Tyler Clippard. So is a fan. He's ready to go. What's your name? Where are you from?
What's going on, Tyler? I'm Brian, and I'm from Tampa, Florida. I was wondering, what was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome on your way to the majors?
Wow. There was a lot of trials and tribulations along the way to get to the big leagues. I mean, I spent probably a total of 5.5 years of my career in the minor leagues. So it wasn't all smooth sailing. The biggest thing I think that I had to deal with was I had a lot of success early on, and I got to the big leagues at a young age at 22 years old with the Yankees. Going through that was obviously very surreal, but then 3 months later, I found myself back down in Double-A, and I think that period of time really had a huge impact on me mentally, and I had to kind of dig myself out of that hole where I felt like I was on top of the world, making my debut at 22, and then 3 months later I was kind of back in Double-A and like kind of saying to myself like, what happened here? So that was kind of the biggest hurdle I had to get over after getting demoted those 2 levels in that short period of time after being on top of the world, and kind of it took me a little while to get out of that, but I think I'm a lot better player because of those trials and tribulations that I experienced at a young age.
Well, thanks for that insight into that, Tyler. As we understand, we ultimately know, we talked about it earlier, that you got the All-Star game, but that is a significant down there to be called up and then sent back down and then make your rise to the All-Star game. We're glad for you. We're glad you took time out of your day to be with us today. I know fans are fired up. I don't want to delay anymore. We got another one ready to go. What's your name, where you're from? What's your question for Tyler?
Hi, Tyler. I'm Rachel. I'm from D.C., and I've been a huge fan of yours for a really long time, and I wanted to get a shirt with your name on it. But the last one that I ever got was Brian Schneider right before he was traded. So,
okay.
Do you think I should get one with your name on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody should have a Clippard jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
hopefully I'm here in D.C. for a long time, so you don't have to worry about that.
Excellent.
Trying to break her own jinx. That's a big fan right there, looking out for Tyler's best interest. I think that's what D.C. fans want to be sure. So I guess that speaks to also, Tyler, how much you enjoy playing in D.C. for that fan base.
You know, the D.C. fans have been incredible to me personally. It's very humbling and overwhelming to see the support that I've gotten. I've been a setup guy. I closed for a little while, but I've been in the bullpen here in D.C. for a while now, and to get the recognition that I get from those fans is it's truly an honor and it's a blessing. But especially since we, early on when I got into this organization in 2009, we weren't the best club in the world. We struggled for a few years, and the fans still kept coming out, and we turned the page on them in 2012 and made it to the playoffs, and ever since then it's been great, and the fans, it's getting bigger and bigger and better each and every year, and we as players love that, and that's what makes us want to win year in and year out, to have that support that they have for us.
This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. This is Tyler Clippard giving us a lot of insight today. We really appreciate taking some good cuts in the cage. It really makes the session a lot of fun. I'm going to go back to Twitter right now. We've talked about some ups and downs and highs and lows, and I guess Conrad Parrish sort of sums it up. For you personally, Clip, what is the hardest thing about being a major leaguer?
Well, I think there's a lot of hard things about doing what we do. I think as a baseball player, we're in a unique sport because we play so many games. We play 162 games a year, but we also play, 30 some odd games in spring training, and you got to work out leading up to spring training. So it's a year-round process. But I think the rigors of a big league season is the toughest part about it. Keeping your body in shape, keeping healthy, finding the energy and the time to do the stuff off the field as well as on the field. It truly is a grind year in and year out, and at the end of the day, when you put in the work and you see the results and you do well and you can do and see some of the great cities that we get to see, it makes it all worth it. But it's definitely a grind.
That's Tyler Clippard talking about the rigors of being a major leaguer. As we know, it is a very young season. One game under his belts as we look forward to a long season for the Nationals. Another fan steps in the cage. What's your name, where you're from? What's your question for Tyler?
My name is Robert, and I'm from Stafford, Virginia, and my question is, Tyler, what's your favorite pitcher that isn't on the Nationals?
Okay, that's a tough question to answer. Favorite pitcher that's not on the Nationals. Trying to think. It used to be Mariano Rivera. I can't say him anymore because he's obviously retired. He was a reliever and a guy who I love to watch pitch. I think trying to think. I enjoy watching closers. Because I feel like I'm part of that group and part of that little kind of fraternity of short inning, late inning guys, and I like to watch those guys who are good at their craft. the guy from the Dodgers, Kenley Jansen, I think he's got a real good cutter like Mariano used to have, and guys like that are very dominant are fun to watch. So I guess I'd say him.
Wow, coming clean. We appreciate that, Tyler. It's time for us to say goodbye. Tyler, thanks for being with us. Have a great season.
Hey, no problems. Thanks for having me.
That wraps up another round of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. We'll see you next time.